hysterical. All right, let me see. We're going.
I've got a little bit of a cough. Let me know if we're going to go.
Yeah, we're live. I'm going to tag it. Oh, wait, hang on. You know what? I think we're on. We're already on.
We're already on?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Let's just go. What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's Local Music Monday. I didn't realize we were on. Usually I put the screen on.
Yeah,
We'll begin shortly.
How long have we been on for?
Probably a few minutes. I don't even freaking know. What's up, everybody? It's Local Music Monday. I'm having stupid computer day like every day. And so I think that's why it was just like click and go. But here we are. We're live on the D. You can watch us on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're also live on Twitch. So like, comment, subscribe, all that social media stuff. And then we're going to wrap it up into a podcast that you can listen to at your leisure, at your discretion. And you can listen to it at disruptionnetwork.net. Got to give a shout out to the sponsors, if not for the podcast. If not for the sponsors, the podcast isn't possible. So thank you to Joey's at 307. Give them a call today if you want food reservations. They're awesome restaurant down there on Mohawk Street. It's 307 Mohawk Street. Give them a call, 315-864-3527. Shout out to EJA Moving Services, the professional movers, 315-335-0516. They'll move you anywhere, anytime, any place. And they give you free boxes, too. So they pack up your boxes for you. They bring them wherever they need to go. EJAmoving.com. Check them out. Shout out to Billy, the liquor guy. He's got a great book out there about bombs and drugs and criminals and all of the agents that brought him down. He's winning awards in the True Crime series. And you can check out his book at Barnes & Nobles or wherever you get your books. And on the horizon is BillyTheLiquorGuy.com. So that's coming out really soon.
It.
So he's got a second book coming out, too. We got to get that crazy bastard on. Also, shout out to Utica Coffee, my attorney, Dave Longaretta. If you need some legal advice, give him a call, 315-735-6162. Big ups to Saranac. Ballsy, ballwash.com. Use promo code members only for 15% discount. I'm going to get you some for Christmas, dude. I'm going to get you some nut rockets.
It's funny because I just saw a commercial on TV with couples and discussing shaving their balls. So.
Yeah,
it's the same shit. It's great.
It's amazing.
It changed my life, Jones.
Mm-hmm. Having your testicles shorn is, I'm sure.
Real quick, let me get through the rest of this.
We're going to have fun today.
Oh, yeah. Big shout out to Chilling with the Rick. We cross-promote each other, so give him a like over there on Facebook and subscribe to his YouTube channel. And also, got to give a big shout out to everybody that came out to our food drive. That we had a big food drive back on November the 16th at the American Legion in North Utica. We raised over 650 pounds in food, and we raised about $700 in donations. So big ups to my friends that helped out with that. Shout out to Sam over at the Utica Cricket Club and DJ East One for helping out, and all of Sam's family. They were a huge help over there. So looking forward to doing more with the Utica Cricket Club. And also, I want to make an announcement too. This show is going to be on YouTube only exclusively starting the beginning of the year. So we're going to just switch over to YouTube. We'll still be on Facebook, but we'll share it.
Yeah, we'll share it.
We'll just share it, but we're going YouTube only. I think that's the route to go around here. We're making some changes here around the D, and that's going to be one of them. So, Justin, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Long, wonderful.
Long and wonderful?
Yeah, long and wonderful. Got 6 gigs last week. And I'm finally off till Friday this week, so
good.
Really happy about it.
You need to relax, bro. You work a lot. The guy works like, what, 6 days a week?
Just about,
You're gigging about 6 days a week?
Yeah, I average myself about 275 a year.
Damn.
It's ridiculous.
Jones, you ever do about 275 gigs in a year?
275 gigs?
Yeah, what's the most gigs you've done in a year?
Probably more than that.
Nah, maybe.
You would have to touch base with Jeff Tripley, but we did 200 and something one year, 2 years ago. Oh, well, that was a number of years. I'm trying to think. We were out a lot, and then it was too much because we were playing every little crazy little dive bar, any place. Right. And I didn't really need to. That wasn't really the point of what we were doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I had a job.
Yeah, right.
I worked during the day, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know why I was... Yeah, I came to a point where I was like, this is a lot of extra work that I'm doing. That wasn't really helping. But we were on like at Bands in Town chart. We were way at the top at the year end, you know, for like numbers of shows that we had done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember how many it was, but
was that spread out through a couple different bands?
No, that was just the Pale Green Stars.
Pale Green Stars?
Yeah, because that's really the only, you know, we played with the Dracula Jones, but sporadically.
Yeah, right. I feel like you do it when it's right? And make it a special event when Jack Jones comes
when
out.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like December 14th at Funk and Waffles, we're doing a radio benefit for Spark Radio, the local radio show in Syracuse.
What's Spark Radio?
It's a community radio station that does playlists like Greg Yeti from the Flashing Astonishers, Alan Schmid, Undergang, Norm Wilson. Norm Wilson from the Wallmen. He has a show, then like a lot of local guys with radio shows that they have on the Spark Radio. So
right on. Cool. I got to link up with those dudes.
yeah,
That sounds cool. Nice. Let's get into it, brother, because
freeform DJ stuff.
I got to paint a scenario for you, Justin. Here I am, 16 years old. Anthony Donaldson. Wasn't even Z back then.
Right.
Anthony Donaldson, right? My buddies and I were sleeping over at my friend's house.
Yeah.
Right? It's late night, sneaking out of the house. It's about 10 o'clock. His parents are sleeping. We push the car. We put the car in neutral. Push it out the driveway. Push it up the road, right? And then start that motherfucker and take off. Drive to the Lost Horizon and see this man right here in the Dracula Jones. Like, to me, Drac Jones is iconic. Jeff Jones is an iconic person in the local music scene. You really are, brother. You really are.
Thank you.
And a lot of people were wondering, why do you keep calling him Jones? As I got Jeffrey W. Beck. I have your government name on the thing. But I will always refer to him as Jeff Jones. But how did that name come about? You got to talk about how that you established.
It's funny,
the Jones.
until Facebook, a lot of people thought my last name was Jones for probably 20 years.
I did.
Well, so in 1990, when I met Ed, which was here in Utica, we were at Mohawk. He was at Mohawk Valley. I had just come back from Germany. I just got released from the United States Army. I was staying with my parents over in Clinton. My mom, actually. And so I was trying to book. He and I had met up. Ed and I had met at the Valley Brook. I met Ed Ordez at the Valley Brook Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
At open mic. Not like at a hotel. We met at open mic. We didn't just meet at the hotel. So
room 22.
We go to the I go to the open mic, and there's this dude with a terrible haircut, and he's like all industrialed out. He's playing the guitar, but he's not singing. He's just making like all these crazy noises. And then at the end of his routine, for his open mic routine, he grabs the strings and tears all of them off of the guitar.
Just like you tore that microphone off you?
Yeah, right.
I was like, I'm gonna be in that.
It's
right on your side.
It's right on your side. You hear it kind of,
You got it wrapped right around you. Yep, there it is.
There you go, buddy. It just clips right on you.
Do you like that girl I've seen on YouTube where holds her microphone like this?
Oh, God.
She's very pretty, but she's very lesbian.
I know who you're talking about.
I'm sure you know who I'm talking
I know exactly
Right.
who you're talking about.
Living her best life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not eating anything that's not gluten-free, pretty much, or anything that's vegetarian.
So go back to the story. Valley Brook.
I lost my train of thought for a minute there. So I'm at the Valley Brook, and I meet Ed there, and I'm like, this guy, I got to be in a band with this guy because he's like tearing the strings up. The guitar. He was doing incredible guitar playing. So we end up putting together this band. We go through a bunch of names, and we come up with this Dracula Jones name. So I'm calling the Lost Horizon, and I'm like, calling the Lost Horizon. I'm leaving messages for Scott Sterling. I'm like, hey, this is Jeff Beck. I'm trying to I have a band. We're trying to get a gig. And after he's not returning my calls, and I'm a little aggressive back then, so I'm probably calling him like 3 times for over 2 weeks. Finally, he answers the phone. I'm leaving like the 3rd message on his machine. Hi, Scott. This is Jeff Beck. We have this band, and the phone picks up. He says, dude, stop talking to me.
How did that happen?
What's going on?
All right, I don't know. All right, now it's gone.
He says, dude, I'm really, really busy, and I need you to stop calling me and telling me that you're Jeff Beck. I said, but that's really my name. He goes, your name is Jeff Beck. I'm like, yeah. And you have a band? I'm like, yeah. It's called Dracula Jones. He goes, your name is really Jeff Beck? Yeah. He goes, all right. How about Thursday, 2 weeks from now? He put us right on the bill.
Yeah.
He gave us, and then he laughed a lot, after that. But then he just started calling me that Jones guy. Once I met him that first Thursday, he says, we have to change your name. He said, you can't. He said, if you're going to play here, you can't be Jeff Beck. He goes, it's not going to work. He goes, you're going to have to be something like that Jones guy. You're Jeff Jones. You're Jeff Jones now from the Dracula Jones. I was like, okay. I never had a nickname. Really. So I was like, now I guess I have a nickname, And so and it actually worked out. I mean, because I don't think if I kept going around calling myself Jeff Beck, probably would have been more difficult than
Sure.
Yeah.
than not.
So Jones is pretty much your persona, though.
Kinda.
Yeah.
But I've always been myself. I didn't like change myself to become Jeff Jones. You know, I've just was like always.
There's not a split personality there.
No.
No. There's not.
No,
Like,
I don't. I mean, obviously, as a performer, you know, when I hit the stage, it's a different mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to take on a different look because the show is starting. You know, it's not like we're not just sitting around someone's living room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start a rock show.
Yeah.
So, or maybe an acoustic show or whatever. We're going to start, you know, it's time to hit like the professional mode, you know?
Yeah.
So,
you and Des hit it off instantly?
I guess, I mean, he was a really quiet dude when I first met him. He was a very quiet guy, you know, and I had just come from 3 years of, you know, being in Europe in the army, like running around like a crazy person, you know, like riding skateboards and like, you know, just chasing German girls and whatever, you know, like, and being in the army, you know, like firing guns, being on tank ranges, just couldn't wait to get away from the army, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So when I got back here, and then I really just wanted to play music, and that was because that's what I had done. I've done that. I played music. I don't know. It's something people might not know, but I started singing when I was 6 or 7. You know, in the church choir, and in church and in school, and like I had my first real performance at 8 at the old N.A. Walbrand Elementary in Oriskany, which is where I went to school. And so I sang my first solo piece at about 8, and I had so much positive reinforcement after that. Like so many adults walked by me and said, "Wow, that was really great." That I thought to myself, I was like, "Well, maybe this is something I can really do." You know,
That's awesome.
so
It's such a young age too. To figure it out.
and I started playing guitar probably a little bit right about the same time. I took lessons from a guy in Rome, a gentleman by the name of John Vaccaro, who was a very old. He was in his 60s, 70s when I started. He was a flamenco guitar player.
Oh, wow.
He might have been, I think he might have taught music in Rome. He lived right near the Dunkin' Donuts, where Dandy Donuts used to be. Remember in Rome when you went past, if you came into Rome and you went past the Savoy and you turned right at Fort Stammix and you went up, there was a Dandy Donuts on the corner up there in Rome back in the day, just past Jay's Bike Shop. You turn left, man, it was like Johnson or something. But he lived right in this little old house, and you know, my parents, I don't know how my parents found him at the time, but I took lessons from him for a long time. He taught me a lot of like flamenco, kind of like weird guitar part things. But I was never really good with reading music. So.
Did you have a band back then too?
No, I tried to join some bands when I was in high school. Like I auditioned for Toys.
Did you?
Tony Torres. And
Tony Torres?
Yep.
Shy Glad and those guys. I think it was Toys. I think it was the Toys band that they had when they were in high school. So then, but I like in the 80s, this was in the 80s, you know, everything was very high, you know, like Judas Priest. And people were playing like all these songs where dudes with really high voices, and I couldn't sing like that. I didn't have that kind of range. And because I wanted to be in like a cover band then, because I wasn't that good of a guitar player, and you know, I was just kind of scattered. I did a lot of theater mainly.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did like
High school plays and whatnot?
all high school plays, and then I did some community theater in Rome, and did a lot of singing. But when I left I went to school at Oriskany until 11th grade, and then couldn't quit because my parents wouldn't let me, but my dad was a teacher at Whitesboro, and they let me go to school half days because I worked at Tony's Pizza down by Mid-State Skating Rink.
Oh, yeah.
And I delivered pizzas at night, so they let me come into school late in the morning. They made a special deal. I didn't have to get there till 11.
Wow.
And I had already gotten all my Regents requirements and all that stuff, so I was just like, it was a bad time anyway. So I just skipped a lot of school. Saw the space shuttle blow up that year.
86.
You know, from home. Yeah, sitting on the couch, not in school. And luckily, somehow I made it out. I graduated. And What was your question? Your question was.
Now the next
Not
question.
in a band. No, it was not in a band.
So Jack Jones was your first band?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And to come out of the gate like the way you guys did too, because listen, I'm telling you, and I told you this, like to me, you guys are icons, but you guys had a sound before grunge. You guys were grunge before grunge. They were having that sound. He had the Yardle before Eddie Vedder came out and all that other shit.
Right.
I'm serious. Like these guys were ahead of the game. And at one point I thought Jack Jones was going to rule the world.
Yeah.
I think we really thought the same thing. You know, at the time, we were very collective about it. And there was a lot of things that were happening very quickly in the 90s, you know. I think for maybe a lack of some decent, I think a lot of really creative studio dudes were on the West Coast. And a lot of really good engineers. I think there were some on this side, you know, but I think, I don't know. It was when I look back on what we were doing then, it's such a short, almost a small period of time.
It really is.
Between, you know, like, and you don't. I think if you're really going to break out into something, you probably have a smaller window than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Because the longer the older you get, probably the more difficult it becomes because it's really it's kind of like a young person's game. You know, now, I mean, like even now, you know, we had to make a post. We're going to do this show. You know what I mean? You got a show next week. Got to make a post. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to be in everybody's face. I'm not like, I never wanted to be in everybody's face all the time about everything. I'm not here to share every intimate detail of, you know, my life and all that crap. You know what I mean? It's like, I find that exhausting. You know, besides it's my life. It's not your, you know, it's not like, you're not standing. I don't want to stand out there and be, look at what happened to me as a girl. You know, these bad things. You know, it's like, give it a break, man. You know, create something or don't. You know,
Yeah.
Don't sit around and cry so people look at you and go, oh, you wrote that. Yeah, grinding my gears. You know,
That's what you said though on your post today. You said you were going to come in and talk about what grinds your gears. There you go. It's usually for jokes, though. If you're going to tell a joke, that's when you ring the bell.
oh, listen, I don't usually tell dad jokes,
No, I got millions of them.
but when I do, he laughs.
Yeah.
Man. So right after Jack Jones ends, though, you started up, was that the Pale Green Stars?
So it was
Or
weird.
Ghost Monkeys?
I have this, it was like the Ghost Monkey Band. So I have this thing where, like, as soon as I do something that everything is popular, then I shift gears and do something else. So, like, as soon as I was the Dracula Jones Band, like, started to kind of, you know, fall by the wayside, we worked really, really hard.
Yeah, you
And there
did.
was a lot of finger pointing. And when you're younger, you know, like in your early 20s, it's very easy to call other people out for, like, what you think is going wrong with the situation, you know? And I mean, I was just trying to be diplomatic and just try to keep every, you know, okay, you don't like the lights, let's try doing the lights this way. You don't like this song, you know, you don't like the set list structured like this, you know. But in the long run, you know, we went through, Ed and I have always been like probably the core of the group,
Oh, yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and then we went through several drummers. I mean, we've probably been through 10 different dudes that I've had play drums.
Like fucking
You know,
Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Well, you know, over time it becomes very challenging to reteach someone songs over and over and over again. For
sure.
Very difficult. So, and you know, it just gets. But at the same time, I think the songs speak for themselves. Like you could still come see us, and we're not. It's not like dad rock where we're just going through the motions up there. You know, we can legitimately hold our own with. I can hold our own with anybody.
And it's still a great show.
Yeah, and we do have a great show. The song, we string things together. The songs back up to each other, and a lot of that stuff is very timeless. So the Dracula Jones Band kind of was falling off a little bit, and I made a solo record with Bob Aquaviva down here. It's really kind of mellow. It's called Tuscaloosa, which is not available currently, but in my catalog to be released online. And then I started this indie rock band, which was at the time pretty like where we were kind of going, as opposed to like hard rock or grunge. We were kind of like in between all that, you know, like, and that was the Ghost Monkey Band. And that band we had a pretty good run. We did a lot of really great shows. Fred Cousineau, myself, Sean Trinkhouse was in that band. Greg Yeti was in that band. Dan Muscalow. Got guys from the Flashing Astonishers. And And we played a lot of places. We played in New York City, Webster Hall a bunch. We played, Syracuse. We threw some great parties. And then from that band, so I started getting involved with this idea that I wanted to see people dance more, and I had really been listening to a lot of bluegrass music at that point, and not so much country, but all the old time country music. And I started writing a lot of 1-4-5s, and I started playing slide guitar in open tunings, and I kind of got into that. And I also wanted to work, and I found you couldn't really work musically in Syracuse if we were playing like a band, a full band. There were a lot of places that we couldn't make any money.
Yeah.
Because it would be too loud. And I wanted to play at that point. The Dinosaur Barbecue was really jumping. Shifty's was really jumping. Places like that. Awful Al's was really, you had live music at Awful Al's on Sundays was off the hook. That place would be mobbed. So we started. I started writing songs in the vein of more like up tempo swing kind of music, and that's when we kind of started the Pale Green Stars band. Like I had like a 6-piece band, pianos, harmonica player, 2 guitar players, drummer, bassist, backup singer. Like we just started doing this whole routine, this country, crazy psycho rockabilly country routine. And it worked because people were willing to pay, and we weren't super loud. Nobody was holding their ears. People weren't running through the door. I got tired of just watching people stand there like. So that was what we did with the Pale Green Stars we did that for a while, and until again I got bored, and then we were like, let's make a rock record,
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a couple albums with the Pale Green Stars, right?
I've got so we have one called The Honky Tonk Years.
Oh yeah.
I've got a bunch of different. I've got a bunch of records with that band too. The Honky Tonk Years. Then I've got a record called Let's Trade Prescriptions, which is a pretty good record we made in 2000. And then the new record with the Pale Green Stars, Become Who You Are, which is a 6-song. I guess it's an extended play.
What's the one, Thank Drugs I'm Not on God?
So Thank Drugs I'm Not on God. So again, this is why you should not switch the name.
Love it.
Isn't that a great name?
So good.
So that record it's going to be, I'm going to rebrand that as a Pale Green Stars record so that you can find it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. So that's kind of like an alter ego kind of record, when we called it the Legendary Jones Gang, because at that point we were like, nobody loved us, everybody hated us, and me, Fred Cousineau, Sean Sullivan, and we were just getting together, and I had written some songs. I'd been in a really bad, dark place, and so I had written some bunch of heavy songs. And then we were able to capture them pretty well with Jeff Molesky in the old studio, and that's probably sonically maybe one of the better records that I think we've made. It's just heavy. You could again, that's in the queue to be cataloged. I'm moving everything to it's either all going to be under Pale Green Stars or Dracula Jones, so that it's easy to find it. Nobody would ever. You could look for Jeff Jones, but you'll never find.
There's a million of them out there.
Yeah, the Legendary Jones Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thank Drugs We're Not on God.
Brilliant.
I love it. It is brilliant. How do you feel about recording full albums these days? Because with the whole live streaming thing, and bands can't make money off the live streams.
I can see where nowadays it's all like singles. Singles. You know what I mean? Like, here's my single, which I can understand. But. Like, I think a lot of those people, I'm just coming up to working at home recording things. We're just starting to get on that tip. I live next door to the biggest recording studio in Syracuse, probably New York State. One of the biggest rooms which is Mold Tracks. And I'm in the huge live room. He's got everything, you know what I mean? And he's got a Neve console, and we've got 48 channels, But at the same time, that's like a whole process,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to pare it down a little bit to where I'm able to cut a lot of tracks at my house, and maybe do drums or something like that at the studio.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I think full records. If you've got that many songs, go ahead,
Put them out.
track them all at once. You don't have to release them all.
Right.
I mean, I've got songs in the can now, but I don't love everything. You know what I mean? And I don't have time to sit and freaking like. I used to have time to sit and
Overthink everything.
Craft it all into a little ball till it was perfect. You know what I mean? Or because you got to let it go eventually. It's like any kind of any kind of pursuit, art, like if you paint whoever did this artwork here, you know what I mean? The dude had to let it go. He couldn't keep going. I could paint more gray or more, you gotta, like, if you're a painter or if you're a musician, you've gotta eventually put it to bed. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, that's it. But if it drives you nuts and you think you could make it better, then maybe you don't put it out. Then you wait. I've sat on a bunch of stuff for a long time just because I feel like, I haven't figured out this one little spot. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to sound like crap. Because to me, when I hear it, I'll have to listen to it for the rest of my life.
And then you got to play it like that too.
Yeah. Now, well, it's the other thing. I've always thought, like, live. It's when you see a band live, that there's different elements to that. On the record they do it at 3.5 minutes, but when they do it live, it's 6 minutes. And they do this thing in the middle where Jones puts the guitar on his head and spins it around.
Right.
Who knows? Anything's possible. That element of the live show as a whole. Like, you've got to be able, like, country music stuff now. I mean, I don't know. Some of these guys, if they write a song, they got to play it exactly as they did it. You know what I mean? There's not really a lot of room for error. And, if you go to the Grammys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no, like, you're not going to F around on the Grammys. You're going to play that song the way it is, the way everyone loves it.
Right, yeah.
You're not going to suddenly do something different, which I think is probably your best play in that situation.
Yeah.
But if you're playing, down here at Lucan's or whatever that place is called, I don't know, but they do cover bands down there. So.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like you're less critical in your older age of yourself in your writing?
I don't know if I'm less critical or if I don't know. It's, you can't play. So I have a joke. I was like, who's more of a broken man, Ryan Adams or Jeff Tweedy? You know what I mean? I mean, who wants to, if a man
That's a good
thinks
poll
the
right
same,
there.
Yeah.
If a man thinks the same at 40 as he did at 20, he's wasted 20 years of his life not learning.
100%.
You know what I mean? So I find that as I get older, I don't want to play the broken man. You know what I mean? Like I think I look a little bit more. I try to look more in depth into what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I mean, when I was younger, it's more about how I felt. Now I don't know if it's so much about how I feel, if it's about what I see. And sometimes it's about pure fiction. I might make something up. You know what I mean? Just come up with an idea. Or like I get one or two lines of something, and I'll just kind of go with a song. Like there's a song off our Honky Tonk Years record. It's called "The Cold Vicious Man." And I just had this idea, Cold Vicious Man, and I thought I wanted to make a very sparse, densely sparse song. It's got one of these, I don't know what you call it, but it's chains around it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's bass, upright bass, and then this boom, boom, and then I come in singing. I brought some girls in to sing behind me.
Cool.
It was just like this weird song, and I maybe have become a little more critical. I just don't want to do anything that sucks, And sometimes I can't tell because I'm like this,
Yeah.
Does it suck or not? I can't see it. Where is it? Who knows?
Yeah, it's good not to be overcritical of yourself,
Sure.
though,
I would hope.
Like you said too, like if you're painting the mural or whatever, just put it to bed. Eventually, you're gonna have to put it to bed, and a lot of people don't. Yeah. And
I mean, and sometimes now here's the other thing though. You could do something that sucks,
right, right,
and then be like, look at what I did, and be like, yeah.
But a lot of times, people when they get into that way of thinking, they can't get out of their own way, and they can't really move on to the next project.
Right.
Sure. I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some of the people that I've worked with along the way, guys in studios or other musicians and stuff like that, some people have been critical, I think, of me switching formats or switching gears into the style of music that I write. But as a songwriter, I feel like I can understand a lot of different formats of music. I can understand classical music. My brother's a huge classical music guy, but I can understand a good song and not. You don't have to love a good song. You just have to understand that it is what a good song is. Like it doesn't have to be your cup of tea. But having that understanding of that, and so people have been critical. Like Jones, you can't get out of your own way. If you could stick with something, well, geez, if I write 20 freaking bluegrass songs, you know what I mean? And then I'm a little bit bored with writing bluegrass songs, you know, and then I feel like I want to go back to, you know, and we worked that format for a while, and then I changed the show up. I mean, I've been playing in clubs for 30 plus years, and the only way I could keep myself at doing original music, you know, so the only way I could keep my own head and even keep my show fresh is to change that show. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, bro.
Change the format a little bit, do this, but so that's where I realized like changing the name of the band, bad idea. You could change up a little bit of what you do, you know, shift it this way. Now we've kind of blend everything a little bit together, you know. And but I never have really done Dracula Jones songs with the other bands, you know what I mean? Now we do 1 or 2 songs maybe, just because we've come so far that sometimes, you know, with the Pale Green Stars band, we'll drop a Drac Jones song in there. But for 20 plus years, after we stopped with the Dracula Jones band, I never performed those songs unless I was with Ed. And I felt like that was the right thing to do because Ed and I did those songs together, and I felt like I don't want to go out on my own. And I also felt, guitar player-wise, he's such a great guitar player that I don't want to do disservice to the songs, you know? So I never played those songs unless we were together, you know, to do those songs. And I think it worked out because, you know, I mean, it took me out of the Dracula Jones and put me more in my own space here, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't rely on doing that material. I wrote all new, you know, just wrote all new songs and I didn't have to go backwards in those. So those songs could stay there with Ed and myself and the Dracula Jones Time Machine. And everything else goes forward.
I feel like all those songs, though, it's what makes you so colorful. You know,
I hope so. You know what I mean? I hope so. I mean, I could sit down at a party like I could do 3 nights probably of 2 hours every night and not change a song, not repeat a song.
Yeah,
you know, 6 hours probably. I could probably do 6 hours. You know?
You caught a lot of slack though from changing genres, though, huh?
Sure.
Yeah,
Because
because other major Drac Jones fans
confuses people. You know, like they don't
like change.
Yeah,
That's true.
They don't. People don't like change, especially in this area.
This area, yeah.
I don't like change.
Yep.
You ever listen to Slaves?
No.
There's a band called. Well, they changed their name to Soft Play. I've been really into some of these British bands from the late 2000s. Like I'm really, really into Idols. I don't know if you heard Idols.
No.
Oh my God, these guys they have some killer songs. Great live band. Just like it sounds, IDLES, Idols. And there's another band out of the UK. It's called Slaves. I'm pretty sure they're from the UK, and they have some really kind of like punk style music, but really catchy songs and kind of funny. But they changed their name to Soft Play.
Oh God.
And so, and then they have a lot of people coming in like, your new name sucks. You know, like, but the songs, this song is pretty funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just laughing at themselves and everyone else. You know?
Yeah. But did that hurt? Did that like get to you a little bit though when people were busting your chops about?
Sure, because it makes it hard to do anything. You know what I mean? Because that makes it hard to do something. But if someone gets confused with like, oh well, you don't know what's Jones going to do next, or what's he doing now, or this, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to stay afloat, you know.
Yeah.
And keep
writing.
I'm trying to keep writing songs. I mean, hey, it's like. I'm open to selling material, you know, and so I just keep writing, you know, or maybe we'll get something good that, you know, makes something like a move into a, you know, one song in a movie or one song here or there. Now I think it's easier to put that stuff in people's faces because of being online. That's the only thing I think is good about being able to be online. It's easier to share it. It's not like I have to send you a CD, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but like back in the day, it's much easier to see. I think, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of things I probably could have done differently all the way along the line. You know?
Oh, of course, man.
When the cocaine hit the table, we should have run for the door. But we just stood around till 6:30 in the morning, and we still wanted more.
Stood around till 6:30 in the morning. You stood around for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I hear you, brother. You know, hey, it could be a downfall of the band, too. Bringing in the drugs into effect and stuff like that. But it's part of your story, brother.
Funny line I'm writing for a song, you know.
You ever think about writing a book?
I've thought about it, but I don't think anybody.
Bullshit.
To go that deep.
Come on.
You never know.
You got people out there that love you, dude. They would love to read that book. I'd read it. Can I be your audio voice? And on this chapter of
I'll
the
be
Just
having auditions.
Okay. You got gigs coming up? You got anything happening?
I do. I have. So what I've done is I basically got one gig every month, and it's at Funkin' Waffles. It's Jones's Garage.
Cool.
So the last Thursday of every month, I usually try to bring in 2 bands plus myself. And like, so this Thursday coming up on the 30th, we got this band called the Jaded Ravens. This band out of New England. Guy and this girl, they're really good. If you go on the Pale Green Stars page on Facebook, you can see you can find them, and they're a touring band. They're really pretty cool. And then we're doing so they're a duo, and we're doing the Pale Green Stars duo, which is Brian Coyne and myself. And then so next month, so that's the only gig really that I've been doing is that Jones's Garage gig. Now I do a couple one-offs here and there with like we opened for the Rods with the Dracula Jones this summer down in Cortland. Which
How was that?
Pretty interesting. It was interesting.
The Rods are still a thing?
So yeah, I mean the Rods were pretty good. They weren't bad at all. But the only problem I had with that show is I thought we were crushing it, and we were. You know, we opened for them. We're outside on a big stage, big sound system. I think we were closing with Oblivion. So, you know, we come around to the end of winding up to the end of the song. Don't you freaking know the PA just stops.
Huh.
Everything went out. The monitors went out. The front end went out. All of a sudden, there was nothing. We were like, we're running to, you know, we're like hammering to the end of the song.
Yeah.
And everything just cut out.
Oh,
I was like,
brutal.
And then my microphone wasn't working, or maybe it was the monitors. I don't know. All I know is that all the sound stopped that I was hearing. Maybe it was coming out the front end. I couldn't hear it. You know what I mean? But everything stopped on stage. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And we were like, well, that's it. It was a terrible end. It was the worst. You know, it was like, it was a terrible way to end that show. But so we did that. I mean, and so the Thursdays is where we were going with, and then one-offs with the Dracula Jones. So.
Right, and then you got something December 14th. You were saying
December 14th is the fundraiser, Dracula Jones, Flashing Astonishers. That's at Funkin' Waffles as well. You can see that online. And then December 28th, which is the middle of the last Thursday. Yeah, if there's any bands out there, anybody wants to get on one of those gigs, we do like local bands. I'd love to have some bands from Utica. Anybody. You know what I
cool.
mean? So
how do they get in touch with you? Just through like Facebook or whatever?
Get a hold of me through a passenger pigeon or call Z on the phone. Tell Z to call me.
You got a promo code?
Yeah. Click on my QR code. Yeah. Here's my QR code. Click on that.
Can you print off more of those shirts?
Yeah, I'm gonna make.
You need to. You
know what, Z? I should have brought you a glass. Next time I see you, I'll make sure to bring you one.
A glass?
I have pint glasses with this on them.
Do you really?
I do.
Yeah.
I printed them. I had them made special for my 50th birthday.
Dude, I love those shirts though. I wear mine daily. Well, not daily, but it's usually my go-to at the gym.
I think we're gonna probably print out some more.
Good, you should. That whole freaking logo, it's iconic.
I feel like it is pretty good. It's actually a picture of me in my dad's. This is my dad's ski mask.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I actually have it at the house. I was chasing my son around the house on Sunday. I want to give a shout out to my son Colton.
Hey Colton.
Hey.
What's up, bud? How old's Colton now?
He's 9.
Wow. You got him playing music?
He does.
Yeah.
He plays. Actually, we played the. He does. He sings with me. He his hand's a little small for the guitar yet, but he can carry a tune like you wouldn't believe. He can remember lyrics like you wouldn't believe. I wish he could remember his spelling words as well as he could remember the lyrics.
Same.
To like
My son's the same.
some
Yep.
songs, but yeah. So he's really pretty good. He can play the piano a little bit.
Does he like it?
Oh yeah, he loves it.
Good.
He wants to go to sound check. I think he wants to go to sound check at Funkin' Waffles mainly for the waffles with the whipped cream on top.
Mm-hmm.
Does he come to your shows? Has he been?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He actually we played. I did a one-off this summer. They so in the summertime they do some music once in a while at the Dinosaur Barbecue outside. So I played solo outside, and he did almost the whole show with me, sang along with me.
Wow.
You know, the whole show.
So cool.
And he's funny because he's fearless, you know. And I'm more like, we can't do that song. We gotta like chill. He's like, no, let's do this one, you know. Do it. And he's like, there's some kids here. And then he'll lean over, he'll go, there's some kids here. Yeah, there's some kids right there. Let's do this one. There's some kids here. Like he's impressed them.
I love it.
Hey, you got to check out. We got some comments over on Facebook, and if you're watching over on Facebook, please do us a favor and click the share button.
Got
Also,
any questions?
I do want to make mention too. Like, come first of the year, we're switching this all over to YouTube,
it's
so
gonna be great.
get adjusted to that. What do we got? We got Pete Stojanovich.
Stoyanovsky.
Yeah, he's saying I'm listening. Don't forget Fat Pete.
Fat Pete the Gangster. He plays the drums on Let's Trade Prescriptions,
Let's trade
cool.
prescriptions.
which was recorded in Ithaca at Pyramid Sound.
Pyramid Sound, yep.
And where did you get the inspiration behind that song?
Let's Trade Prescriptions. That's the record.
That's the record, yeah.
That's the name of the album. Let's
Gotcha.
Trade Prescriptions. It was just something we were talking about at rehearsal. And then I kind of wrote a song about it. I think we did we started writing a song. I've written more songs that I've forgotten than songs that I remembered, probably. But we had this joke, you know, like, what happened? You guys trade prescriptions? I think we were making a joke about something. Like, what's wrong with him? Did you trade prescriptions with him or something like that? And we had a good laugh at that. It's almost like the thank drugs were not on God. You know,
Love
all
that
I did
one.
was I looked at that. I saw something that said, thank God I'm not on drugs. And like my brain just went backwards. And I was like, well, geez, thank God, thank drugs we're not on God, you know?
love it.
Steph and Tom Pavlet are saying I have the original Jack Jones cassettes. Which
Nice.
which one's the original one? Is
That would be
not prepared?
Heavy Pop.
Heavy Pop.
Yep, or Speak was on cassette.
Speak, right.
Speak and Heavy Pop.
And then afterwards, Prepared Unload.
Yep, that was our first CD.
That you recorded with Aquaviva, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
in a compact disc format.
Yeah, that was your first CD.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. We recorded that with Bob right down here, right down the busy corner.
Yeah.
Franklin Square.
Yeah, it's so funny. I used to run like all up and down Genesee Street as a kid. Like probably from when I was 14. My old man started dropping me off over at my friend's house over by the pizza place over there, by the skating rink, Mid-State Skating Rink. And I'd stay at his house over the weekend, and we would just ride over here. We'd go from the uptown, you know, we'd go up to New Hartford, and then we'd ride our bikes back down here. You know, it was just insanity.
Yeah.
And then when I started driving, it was a whole nother ball game. I mean, because like in the 80s, when I was 17, 18, there was like a couple of pretty heavy duty bars down here. Yesterday's, like JJ's in Rome.
Yeah.
You know, a place like that where
Bobby
like,
McGee's.
oh yeah, where, I mean, if you didn't like look like you could hold your own or if you could take a punch or a joke, you had no business being in any of those places.
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? I had this motorcycle. I was like 17 when I first turned 18. And I would ride the bike right up onto the sidewalk and park. I said to myself, if I'm going to go to one of these like yesterday, I'm going to park right in front of like right as close to the door as you could. Kick that thing off, put the helmet on.
Wait, don't go too far. You're going to...
Unsnap myself.
Yeah, there you go. It's the energy you got going on.
I love it.
Here else, what do we got going here? Rob Gerling saying, good to see everybody in the studio again. Yes, it's good to be back. My schedule is going to be a little weird. We're going to be here for a couple more weeks, right? And then, of course, Christmas and New Year's. And I'll do a couple shows in January, but then I go back on the road with Mo for a couple weeks. And so we'll be in and out sporadically here.
Are you still at the Stanley?
No.
Ah.
No.
So the Stanley Theater is where I saw my first big concert alone.
What was that?
Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I feel like Blue Oyster Cult played once a year around here.
So
They were
I
always
think I
around.
was in 7th grade, and my dad, I won tickets off of WOUR, I believe. And my dad, I made him drop us off like up the block. And we knew Don't Fear the Reaper and Burning for You. You know what I mean? But I didn't know anything else about the band.
Sure.
Couldn't see him, anything like that. So my dad drops us off. Me and my buddy were like, we walk down there. I walk in the door, and I get hit with a blast of weed. Like it was the first time I had ever really smelled weed. I'm like, I get hit with a blast of weed, and then everyone, it looked like the Hell's Angels had assembled, and everyone just turned and looked at us, and I thought to myself, we are going to get kidnapped and murdered inside. And then I said, all right, well, we mellowed out and we found our seats. You know what I mean? And that was when, those guys were driving the Harley on stage, playing Born to Be Wild, and they had the giant Godzilla head. It was absolutely incredible. The swimming pool cues and Sergeant Blotto opened that show. It was crazy.
Life-changing.
I mean, just from an aspect of like a rock and roll show, you know what I mean? it was pretty incredible. I think we saw Loverboy after that.
Did you go home and start playing guitar after that?
No, because I was still not very good at playing the guitar.
Gotcha.
I was never really I didn't really have many mentors. I literally grew up in the forest out, where the United County Jail is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I lived right down the street from that United County Jail on Coleman Mills Road, actually right next door to Michael Connor.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I think I remember when his parents brought him home from the hospital, because that's how small he was. That's how little, we lived literally, we shared 2 driveways like this, and his family lived here,
Wow.
and we lived there. So
Okay.
his brother Bobby was, I think, 3 when they moved in, and then Mike had just been born. He was a baby. He was really little, and I was already 10, probably, or 11, at that age. So it was pretty funny.
You're way out in the middle of nowhere, though.
Yeah.
But back then it was really
Yeah,
desolate.
it was that. Yeah.
Grown in a little bit now,
Sure.
We did a lot of things in Rome and in Utica.
Mhm.
And at the time, it was cheaper for my parents to have 2 telephones. We had 2 phones. We had a 339 and we had a 736. We had 2 phones in our house. So you could call Rome or you could call Utica, either way. And not
right,
be long
'cause
distance.
the long distance,
It
right,
used to be
yeah.
long distance. If
Yeah.
you called Rome if you called 339 from a 736 number, it was long distance.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Syracuse, you get beat over the head with everything. If you tried to call Syracuse, they would kill you with.
My
with
old man
fees.
has had that phone bill out. He'd be like, all of these calls to Rome. What is going on? He was like, we could get another phone, a Rome, because we lived so close. We couldn't get cable TV, but we could have 2 telephones.
2 telephones.
Steph and Tom Pavlin are saying Jeff is the most colorful person I know. Kind of have to agree with that.
I'm like black and white, and I'm not really sure.
Big Pete is saying, love you, Jones. Twinkie has spoken. Great interview.
Hey, listen, Pete, I'm not far from where Twinkie got its name. So one time I was down by the Odd, and I was riding my skateboard coming towards the Odd, past the projects that were down. I don't know if they're still down
They're not there anymore. Washington Courts.
Yeah. So I was coming from, I don't know how I ended up down there. I used to do a lot of walking and skating and down here. And these kids started yelling at me, yo, Twinkie, yo, Twinkie, Twinkie. And I was like, I just kept skating. You know what I mean? I just kept skating. But I thought about it for a long time. He white like the villain. I was like, he white like the villain. Twinkie.
You almost got no fight.
Well, I didn't. There was too many people. I was just kept going. Just go.
Yeah, just keep going, right?
Well, that's the song, Twinkies. They call me Twinkie because I'm white like the villain. Sit on the porch with my homies, just chilling.
Nah, it all makes sense, brother. It all makes sense.
I love you, Pete.
I love it. Mary Hart saying hello. Hi, Mary. Good to hear from you. Thanks for checking
Mary
in.
Hart.
She's saying hi. Old friend, both of ours.
Nice.
Whoever's watching on Facebook, if you could do us a favor and click the share button, it would be greatly appreciated. All right, now you got to guess who made this comment. Jones, you got to guess who made this comment. It says, I like the way you fuck. Sometimes I like the way you smell. Who made that comment?
I don't know.
You know who it is.
That's another bad. That's another. It's probably Mike Mamron.
No.
Probably.
No. Scott Henderson.
Oh. I think we were so. I think when we sequenced the Let's Trade Prescriptions record, I really wanted to have a song that made people want to listen to the rest of the record. So we put that song on first. And the first song on the record, you know what I mean? And I don't know what at the time, you think good ideas, bad ideas, but it's I can't play that record for my kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But without skipping the first track, But I don't know.
And they're smart enough now where they can see that it's track 2 and like, Dad, what's up? What's up?
Yeah,
What's track 1?
I mean, we were, Marilyn Manson was huge then, and he was, like doing a lot of there was a lot of like people trying to be shock value. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I thought to myself, why don't we shock people with like this opening line of this record? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it worked or if it drove us deeper into a hole, but
I like
here we are today to laugh about it.
Oh, sure.
Who's the inspiration behind that lyric?
Wait for the book.
Just trying to get some dirt here. I like the way you fuck, sometimes the way you smell.
Perfect.
Dude, you're a lyrical genius over here.
Well, thank you.
Gina's over checking on YouTube. She's saying, glad to see you guys back at it. Thank you, Gina. Thank you for all your support. And then Mike Tylee's saying hello. Haven't heard from Mike in a while. Mike, thank you so much. He's saying enjoying this. Awesome. Who's usually your number one sound guy when you're out and about? Do you have like a go-to?
Over the years, I've used a couple of different people.
Right.
If I need to get a sound person, I mean, I've had Jeff Molesky the Mole, come and mix us a couple times. Brett Waltz, who works with Mike.
Or no, yeah.
He works with Mike Powell.
Right.
And those guys, I think he still works with them, mixes that band. John Hannes and whatnot. I mean, that kid's a great sound engineer. Other than that, I don't really have. Sometimes I have a need for a sound guy, but if a lot of days I don't really have a need for a sound person.
Yeah.
Although it would be nice sometimes, just because I feel like a lot of these young kids, the young guys that mix bands, I don't know if they really like with the digital equipment. I think it's a little bit different than when we were turning knobs. Like I learned to mix on the Lost Horizons PA system with Scott Sterling, old school analog, Allen and Heath console, Soundcraft console actually, and I watched a lot of touring engineers come in and tune that system and mix on that system. I spent 10 years. Maybe a little bit less, maybe 8-9 years, mixing, learning to mix, learning all aspects of production work. I was, I wanted to be that guy that, like, from the band who would be able to come in and if I could tune your monitors or mix the band or do whatever. So I would know all the parts of what was going on. Mm-hmm. I did sound systems for a long time for people and with National Audio, and I worked for the union a little bit, but it was never, I'm always more of a performer, but I did want to know how to do all those things.
Yeah, I think it's super important to know all the aspects.
So then you come in and be like, oh, well, you're just the asshole singer. Well, I'm not the asshole singer. I'm the guy that actually knows something.
That knows what the hell you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
No, it is nice too to have somebody that can communicate with the sound engineer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because they're used to bands coming in and not knowing a damn thing.
Right.
And also, there are some sound engineers that have a band come in and they're like, these guys don't even know where they are. I'm gonna just fuck with them and like this, that, and you can actually say to them, hey, what are you doing that for? I know where you're at. So
I've actually gone to a couple gigs. I'm not going to say where, but we had a couple gigs with the Pale Green Stars where we showed up someplace. I showed up to one place and they were like, I'm like, where's the sound guy? They're like, oh, the manager turned the sound system on. I said, no, where's the sound guy? They're like, oh, the manager's going to turn the sound system on. And then the manager's like, I don't know how to get the sound system on. And I said, well, I'm going to sit down over here. And when you find somebody that can turn the PA on, you let me know. But you're going to pay me because I came here and you booked us.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sit right here until you get somebody here who can do that, because it's not my job nobody said I had to engineer this as well as play.
Right.
And even though I could turn that on and probably set it up, I'm not gonna, because you're not paying me to do that.
Right.
And also I become extremely insulted whenever I end up having to work with somebody who doesn't know. Like if you're gonna book my band someplace to play, and I'm gonna show up, I'm not gonna show up and do my own sound unless you tell me I have to, which is okay. Then we're working this. But don't, book the band and then show up with an 18-year-old kid who doesn't know how to, barely knows how to do anything. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be like, you tell me when you're ready, when you think you're ready.
Yeah.
Head saying hello to both of us. Head Kelly.
Nice.
Hi, Head. Good to hear from you. And Trannon as well. What's up, buddy? Good to hear from everybody. Again, if you are watching on Facebook, if you could click the share button. And also, we'll have the podcast out, too, right after we're done with this. We'll wrap it up, and you can listen to it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Google, iTunes, all that stuff, wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, Jones. Jones, if you could go back in time, give yourself some advice, what would you tell yourself?
I don't know, man.
Right.
Don't do drugs.
There you go. I'd beat myself up.
Stay in school. Go back to stay. Like I probably would have. There's really not too many things that I haven't done that I wanted to do, and I think one of the things that I really would like to do before I leave this earth is maybe get a college diploma.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to school. Just say that I did it.
Yeah.
And I could have done that probably very easily in the 90s. I had the GI Bill when I got out of the Army, but it seemed very difficult, But it's that first step of a 1,000-mile journey, that you're like, you can't see that far ahead when you're that young,
No.
That's true.
It's like you can't see like, 4 years is going to take me nothing, you know what I mean? Like, I can, get a degree in 4 years, it's nothing, But I got in the van instead, started driving around playing shows. Like, I don't have time for college. We're going to be famous.
Yep.
We're going to be famous rock stars.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, but you it's been a blessed life, right?
Going to be notorious.
Yeah. The legendary Jones gang.
Legendary.
But it's been a good life, right? Any
Oh, yeah, dude. I don't have any complaints.
no regrets, right?
What am I going to do? Hey, I pretty much have lived, I pretty much lived out the way that I wanted to,
Yeah.
For the most part. I've been very lucky. I've traveled around the world, not just because of music, but because of the people I met. I've been able to live in a lot of great places, and see a lot of different parts of the world, and experience a lot of different things, like New York City and Hawaii, and, Tennessee, Europe, with the Army. And I've just seen a lot of different places, and I met a lot of people, I'm kind of learned to navigate my way through all that, so I probably wouldn't change much of anything. I mean, I probably would have paid more attention to the internet because I think when the internet started to become really popular, I think I was just a little bit too old to really grasp, and too busy drinking and playing in bands, you know what I mean? I mean, it really wasn't, we were laughing about email, and text messaging. I used to laugh about that, Don't text me, call me on the phone, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like text, who wants to send a text message?
Yeah. Now you're like, don't call me, send me a text.
Like, thank God I don't have to call that dude. I can just text him.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I'm the opposite. I like calling people.
Well, I like calling people.
I do
at the
too.
Same time, there's you realize, but then you lose the nuances of a conversation.
Sure.
And a lot of times people get offended very quickly. Sometimes over just they feel the tone of your words. You threw the wrong string of words. You've suddenly put somebody in a position. That's why you got to always whenever somebody texts me, I never imagine them talking it to me. You know what I mean? I just read it at face value.
Yeah.
And not think to myself, if you think if it's weird, you can call them up. If you feel like you get that weird vibe, hey, is there something? Like, no, I just, okay, But some people get very offended sometimes.
Oh, for
But
sure.
also, where you put commas helps too. Like if
Sure,
you put a comma in the wrong
possibly.
spot,
Yeah, right.
then it becomes a whole different meaning.
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody uses too many commas though in text message.
Right. That's why I think it gets kind of weird.
Yeah. Good point though.
Yeah.
So the internet, I would have paid more attention to I don't know. And I thought I feel like I kind of paid attention to promoting things to the internet. But again, it's like now with Facebook, this sharing of things, I see people share all kinds of things now, and then they go two ways. I think to myself, I've watched people's kids grow up over 10 years. You know what I mean? I think, oh, well, that's great. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not posting my kid online maybe once or twice a year. Maybe there'll be a photo of the two of us. But, I mean, I don't have that kind of exposure,
Yeah.
Google's constantly asking me, who's this person in this picture? You know what I mean?
Right.
Help me out. Help us. Google's like, help us out. Who is this person? Well, I don't know. It's my mom. And then, of course, it'll go through and pay all the pictures of mom.
Yep.
Yeah. It's got advantages and disadvantages for sure.
For sure.
Facebook definitely for promotion and stuff and catching up with old friends, but the people that freaking sit there and put all their personal shit up, it's like, stop.
That's so
You look stupid.
annoying.
And the politics and
I mean, so like back in the day, those were the people you'd see at the bar that you'd be like, oh, you don't want to talk to that guy because he just got all this, issues. He's just gonna tell you all his issues. You know what I mean? You don't want to be over there in that circle. That's like the drama circle. Stay over here with us. You know?
They like our bubble. Our bubble's comfortable. Jones, thanks for taking the time, though, man. I really appreciate you coming down. I've been wanting to do this since we launched the D back in 2017. I've been wanting to get you here for a while, so this means a lot to me, dude. Thank you.
Thank you. See, I appreciate you having me on. I've been wanting to do your show. It's just been a matter of getting up out of the house and driving.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
To the secret, undisclosed location. I might go down to Oskanitz on my way out.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, when in Rome, right? Well, when in Utica.
Very nostalgic to drive here, especially it took Eagle Street down because I worked at Tony's Pizza and I delivered pizzas to all this whole area. And I, like 84 and 85. That was like my gig, all night long. I had a Datsun 310, drive around, be flying down the streets over here, blasting AHA. Take on me. Driving around, yeah.
I'm kind of curious. What were you listening to on the way here?
Oh, man.
I love this question.
Okay,
I'll be honest, on the way here, I listened to... So, generally during the day, I listen to Glenn Beck in the morning. I like news, and I listen to Glenn Beck, and then I listen to Jim Rome. And then, because I kind of like the way that... So, I not necessarily believe everything that the dude says, but he is one of the great salesmen of, like, points of view, and I do think he researches. I think Glenn Beck really tries to research. I think he has his best. They come at some of these topics from a different side. But if you listen to it as like with a grain of salt, like I don't mind that, And I listen to music after like 6, But during the day, a lot of times, I don't really listen to too much music. I like sports radio. I like the Jim Rome show. Jim Rome is like he's like the Howard Stern of sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got a whole routine that he's built. You got to respect the work that dude has put in.
And the longevity too.
Yeah, and he's not an old man either. He's young. He's our age. You know what I mean? He's 55 or 56. He's a year older than me, I think. And you got to respect the way he built his whole brand. I really respect that. And it says it's not like sports. It's sports, but it's also there's a whole show inside the show that goes on. I used to love Howard Stern when he was on in the mornings. That was like
Me too.
one of my go-tos. And but Howard jumped the shark after a while. I mean, once you have $500 million, you have nothing to complain about.
Right.
If somebody gave him $500 million and he's still going to see a therapist, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, what is you seriously have a problem? You must have a problem. But he was edgy when he first started doing his thing, and then the Jim. So I listened to Jim Rome, and then that, and then I'll listen to usually because I'm working and I'm not like rocking out to music. Sometimes during the day though, I will listen to music, but a lot of times it's like like I said, Idols,
The British.
yeah, a lot of that British stuff, and then I run the gamut from hard rock to rock bands. I love like the new Replacements box that just came out where Ed Stasium went in and remixed. He remixed the Tim record. It's freaking unbelievable.
I have to check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's freaking. If you like the Replacements before that, the way that he it seems like I'm trying to remember who mixed it first. Tommy Ramone, somebody mixed it first, and they squished it a lot. And this guy, they had all the tapes and everything, and they put in like the guitars that they took out and some of these other parts.
Wow.
Absolutely,
That's cool.
and some of these songs just sound so good. Like they sounded good before, but now they sound like incredible. I like the Gaslight Anthem. A lot of stuff that Brian Fallon does. That guy's a really good songwriter.
Yeah.
He's very clever.
Very creative. Yep.
We saw him live at Beacon Skiff. He's very funny too. He's really, really funny. He's a funny dude. So I like that band a lot. What else do I've been listening to? My son is I played him Passenger from the Deftones White Pony record.
Yeah.
He loves that song.
It's a great album.
Thank God he got into that because I listened to Seven Nation Army 57 million times. He is so deep into the Seven Nation Army. I thought he would never leave.
That's hilarious. Nice, man. Again, thank you so much for coming and hanging
Hey,
with me
thanks, Steve.
today, Jones. Plug
thank
some
you.
dates that you
Nice
got
to see you.
coming up.
Good to see you.
You got some dates coming up?
So this coming Thursday, the 30th of November,
Yep.
December 14th, December 28th. That's
Hey,
right.
December 20th. And all at Funkin' Waffles.
Yes, all at Funkin' Waffles.
Yeah, shout out to Adam Gold, man. He's doing a great thing over there.
Yep. And Sam down there.
And Sam and Charlie and the whole crew down there.
Yep.
I'm glad they got their truck back. That was crazy.
What happened?
Somebody stole their truck.
I know.
Wait,
Yeah.
somebody stole their truck?
Yeah.
Somebody stole their waffle truck. So
Yeah.
they had their food truck. It was parked at like a storage facility,
Oh, my God.
and somebody went and stole it. Was it a truck or a trailer? I think it was a
It
trailer.
was a trailer, yeah.
Yeah, so they took the truck and the trailer, I think. And then, so they did this Facebook post, and people started coming in. I saw that thing on 81. I saw it here. And
Yeah.
then it came down to that thing is parked on a street in Binghamton. You
Oh
know?
my
And
God.
They found it in Binghamton,
Wow.
parked on a street. I mean, the thing is painted all up like Funkin' Waffles.
Yeah, right?
Whoever thought they could get away with stealing it, I don't
Yeah.
know what.
Did they trash it?
No, the truck was, I think, the trailer was still in good shape, I believe.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Yep.
Thank God.
Waffles for everyone.
Yeah, man. They're doing a great thing over at Funkin' Waffles. Justin, where are you at this week? Oh, that's right. You're off this week.
Well, I'm off this week. I got Friday, the trios at Fratello's.
Okay.
I got a private party on Saturday, and then Sunday I'm solo at Seven Hamlets.
Oh, great spot.
Love it there.
Great spot. Yeah, I love it there too, man. They're doing good things. Cool. Awesome. Jones, again, thank you so much. Also, thank you to my sponsors. Thank you to Joey's at 307 Mohawk Street. Check them out. Great food. They're doing great things over there. I was there for lunch last week with my cousins, and we tore it up.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. Try the East Utica nachos. He makes
Ooh.
these, they're called East Utica nachos. They're not like an actual nacho. What it is, he flattens out like macaroni is what
Right,
he does,
pasta,
or
yeah,
rigatoni.
yeah, pasta
He flattens
chips,
them out and turns those into like a nacho type of thing.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he puts like these olives and sausage and yeah, the East. It's so good, bro. It's so good. Get a big old plate of that. It's right
Yeah.
down the street.
Oh, yeah.
Love that spot. Thank you to Joey's. Thank you to EJA Moving Services. Billy, the liquor guy. You want a good book? You want to read the book?
I got to read the book. I
It's
still haven't
called
read it yet.
Under Too Long. He was an undercover agent that got wrapped up into some crazy ass shit, man. BillyTheLiquorGuy.com. Check him out online. Dave Longaretta, my attorney. Give him a call today if you need some legal advice. 315-735-6162. Thank you to Saranac. Thank you to Chilling with the Rick. And also ballsyballwash.com. Use promo code members only for a 15% discount. You might see one in your stocking this year, Justin.
Appreciate you.
You might. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
I just got to do it. So next week we'll be back. I forgot who we got next week, but we'll be back next week. And yeah, it should be fun. I want to have a Christmas party.
Yes.
We should do a Christmas party.
We
Let's
should
just
do it the
I
same day that Fratello's, like I said.
What day is that?
We're doing December 18th.
Okay.
Port Tim Band at Fratello's.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
We got to figure that out.
I'm going to get shit-faced.
Yes.
It's been a while since I got shit-faced on
know,
this
right?
podcast, but it's always a good time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much for all your love and support, and we'll see you again next Monday. Later.